Hi, this is Mr. Payton. Welcome to the Science of Everything, episode 12. For the next 5 or 6, maybe even more episodes, I'm going to focus on some individuals that have done some outstanding things in the areas of social studies or social science and natural science, what we know to be science. The first person I'd like to focus on is a gentleman by the name of Matthew Henson. You know, in today's world, it's easy to think that we've kind of seen it all. Through the internet, we can pretty much go anywhere. Through people's posts and pictures, we get a chance to experience lots of different cultures. But many years ago, that was a very different proposition. And the idea of exploring somewhere new was a big deal. So in the late 1800s, Matthew Henson and a gentleman by the name of Robert Peary took a number of voyages to the Arctic. Now, if you understand what the Arctic is, that's a super cold place. It's not somewhere where you would want to go on vacation. But one of the reasons why a place like that would be intriguing is because we're trying to understand, like, how can life exist there? Does life exist there? What is the purpose for all of that ice and all of those different elements that come along with that type of temperature? So when these two gentlemen embarked on their journey, who knows what it was that drove them to get there? But I can tell you that when it comes to the unknown, it's very easy to either just dismiss it or to let fear take over. So without having ever met these gentlemen, I am sure that they were extremely courageous. Matthew Henson was considered to be like the first man or the first mate of Robert Peary. Matthew Henson happened to be African American. Robert Peary was not. And that was a big deal, especially we're talking about the 1800s. This is during a time where in the United States, African Americans didn't have a lot of rights, but more importantly, they didn't have a lot of opportunities. The fact that someone entrusted Matthew Henson with the responsibility of being a navigator and a craftsman is extremely significant. For many of us today, we find ourselves sometimes frustrated or even possibly limited by some of our characteristics, whether it's being part of the LGBTQ community, being part of a race that you don't feel is being fully represented, or being of a gender that you don't feel like gets the equity that it deserves. To go back to that time and consider the fact that someone of African American descent had the opportunity to take on such an exploration, again, extremely significant. So as they went to the Arctic, they were credited with the first group of people to reach the geographic North Pole. And again, it may not seem like a big deal, but when you think about going to a store you've never been to before, going to another state. These people went to somewhere else on the globe during a time where there were no high-powered airplanes and there wasn't any internet. So these all were things they were doing as an act of faith. They were like, you know what, we're just going to go to this place. We're going to explore. We're going to research. We're going to document. And we're going to come back. They did this over a period of 23 years. A total of 18 years of just expeditions, but 23 years of research and exploration and all these types of things. And as I move forward with these types of pieces of information to share, I really want to focus on the courage and just the ambition of some of these people from the past and what they had to do. For many of us, I think it's really easy to get frustrated with how difficult things are. But as I start to share the stories of people from the past, I hope that it encourages you to look to do new things in the future. Please remember the name Matthew Henson, one of our first major African American explorers. I hope that you enjoyed this information. Have a great weekend.